Hello?
Hello, Sydney. Remember me?
What do you want?
It's time, girlfriend.
Around the clock, we're gonna rock to the rhythm of the street, down the block. Around the clock, we're gonna rock the dreams you give us the space to talk. Wanna be somebody, be a contender. Gotta reach for the sky. If you want it, fight for it, or kiss it goodbye. It's make it or break it. Try to survive. Don't ever say never. Keep your dream alive. Around the clock.
Keep your dreams alive.
All the good names are taken. He's Blake. I'm Ronnie. And the first thing I want to talk about, Blake, is watching our intro. Where's the rest of the crew?
Well, there is no crew. There is no crew anymore. It's just us, man. I don't know. It's like we've been abandoned. Abandoned ship.
Those guys were super reliable for like 3 months.
Yeah.
And then they do what they do. They just disappear. They'll pop back up in October. And from time to time, just needing a chance. But they've totally ruined what we wanted to do. We wanted to have every month. And these guys just disappeared.
It took 10 seconds for your mic to start acting up. I mean, it's unbelievable that you refuse to pay $20 more and get the better fiber internet hooked up. You live 2 miles from my house and you're still on that old school stuff. Just do it.
What do you want me to say?
I just want you, I want to be able to hear what you say. That's the point.
Well, here's the deal. If the internet goes wild tonight, we'll finish the show and we'll re-upload it.
I got Bud behind me talking. No spoilers tonight, Ronnie. Don't you spoil anything. Okay? No spoilers. We could just use Bud's gimmick. If we need extra people, he just put himself on camera twice a while ago. He was split screen with himself. We'll just do that.
He's smart. That's what we should do. You should have a show where you're talking to yourself.
Yeah.
And constantly agreeing with yourself. That might be an issue like internet wise.
It's still doing it. We're 3 minutes in.
I don't know what to tell you. You'll have to take the lead tonight, Blake. You got to take the lead. Jesus, take the wheel.
I got a lot done this weekend. I mean, do you really want to know? It's pretty boring.
Yes. We never talk. We never just talk.
It's almost summertime, babe. No sleeves. Nope. Is Scream 2 better than Scream? That's a really good question. I think Scream 2 is underrated. I think Scream 2 is really good, but is it better than the original? Probably not.
No, it's not. All right, tell me what you did this weekend. So that way we can run all these people watching for Scream out. It's just me and you anyway.
So it's almost lawnmower season down here in the South, which is a big deal, you know. And you know how big my yard is. I got 5 acres to cut. So I took apart the lawnmower, got the blades off, took the oil filter off, took the air filter out. Gonna service it tomorrow, and I'm pretty excited about that. I took all my old shirts that I either can't wear anymore or I'm too embarrassed to wear in public anymore, and had my daughter cut the sleeves off of them, which is that way I could have work shirts to work outside in, and also have hats. I wear this when I do yard work. I wear the sleeve hat, you know. So I try to look like that cool guy from Encino Man. Shush, you know what I'm talking about?
He's real cool.
He is. He's awesome. But yeah, I just got a lot done. I had to take care of the kids by myself because my wife and oldest boy were going to a competition. Got a lot of laundry done. Cooked a lot.
Jake Blaster donates $1 and says, "What did you guys think about Halloween Ends?"
What did you think about Halloween Ends, Blake? Thanks for the $1, Jake.
It's getting better and better every time I watch it.
So pretty much you just spent all day cutting the sleeves off your shirt.
Yeah, I cut the sleeves off about 48 shirts.
You gonna mow my yard?
I can. I mean, sure. Hey, speaking of Jake Blaster mentioning Halloween Ends, he put out a short is Big Joe Grizzly a top 5 character in the Halloween franchise? I said yes. Now, this isn't Jake Blaster's question. This is what I said. It was just such a cool clip of him with Rush playing in the background. And I said, hot take, I think Big Joe is one of the most popular characters in the franchise. I do.
Side characters is a different discussion. Who are the top 5 characters to you in the Halloween franchise?
Excluding Michael.
Yeah, excluding Michael.
I mean, it's Loomis 1, Laurie 2. You know, this, you're not gonna like this. I like
Rachel.
No, I do like Rachel. God, I like Rachel. So I'm gonna go Rachel. No, I don't. Rachel's number 5, but number 3, I like Hunt from part 2. I like Hunt over Brackett.
I do too.
I really like Hunt, Mike Hunt. And number 4, I guess I'm gonna go Jamie. You know, the Danielle Harris. So that's it. It's Loomis, Laurie, Loomy, Laurie, Deputy Hunt, Jamie, and Rachel. That's my top 5. But Big Joe Grizzly, I really like him. Plus, I'm a Ken Foree guy. Foray.
Shamrock.
Hey, and Dawn of the Dead. How come Roger started freaking out at that mall so quick?
Because
he just lost it like right away.
He was mentally weak. The end of the world had gotten to him.
It was wild.
He's living in effing Georgia Sporting Goods. I mean, nobody wants to live in a mall. He freaked out. You got to get outside. You can't get outside because the purple people are out there.
Yeah, but they wasn't even living there yet. They were just trying to get the trucks to block the entrance so they can set up camp. And he's losing his, I don't know. And I guess if you think about it, I mean, that cop at the beginning was losing his mind. That soldier at the beginning was losing his mind. But I don't know. Roger getting bit that early was just such a huge blow because, you know, it would have been ball game, right?
Look behind you. That's ball game. All right. Nick Push is in the chat. Shane Emerson's in the chat. Josh the Horror Guy's in the chat.
Bud's got the gimmick going again where it's just 2 of him.
Loomis, Laurie, Meeker. He's got Meeker in there. Jamie and Rachel. That's a good top 5 right there. I don't know what my top 5 would be. Obviously, Loomis is number 1. Then you got to go Laurie. And then the last 3, I mean, I like Hunt as well. I do like Meeker. I think Meeker's a really good character. Badass guy. He wouldn't back down at all.
Yeah, Nick's probably talking about Kelly Meeker.
That's probably right. Nick's in the bed by now. Side characters, though, that's an actual show, Blake, because side characters, you got the guy in the truck in part 4, the sneezy guy that Pee Wee jumps off the train.
Blue from Old School.
Yeah. You've got Big Joe Grizzly. You've got the 2 orderlies that raped the chick in front of Michael in the Rob Zombie one.
Jesus.
You got the chick that won the Oscar that got her face sliced off. You got most of them are from Rob Zombie because you got Machete in there.
I was gonna say you got Danny Trejo.
You got Machete. You got the dude from Stone Cold in there. I mean, all the side characters are from the Rob Zombie branch of the franchise. Oh, Shane Emerson says Shane's got women on the brain tonight. Kelly Meigs and Michelle Williams.
What happened to Michelle Williams?
Well, she became like a big time actress. She was nominated for a couple Academy Awards and may actually won one. She was in Shutter Island as the wife that drowned his kids. Spoiler alert.
I thought that was Dean Cain.
No, Dean Cain really drowned his kids. I'm talking about the movie. All right, Blake. So I promise you this is the last time we're talking Scream until we make a video after we watch it in 6 months. Our original plan was to watch a Scream movie with Boz every Sunday, the 6 weeks or 5 weeks leading up to the release of Scream 6. But Boz told us what, Blake? He doesn't go.
I don't go live. Ronnie, that is an official Kane Hodder Friday 13th mask.
Did he sign it?
No, but that's what it said on the back at Walmart.
What makes it an official Kane Hodder? It's 5'2".
No, it's what it said on the back of the cardboard when we bought it. We bought it at Walmart.
Well, this is an official signed copy VHS of Crocodile Dundee, Paul Hogan.
That looks so good, man.
Yeah, I know. Look, what can you do? Well, Blake, Scream 2.
You want me to wear the mask the whole time?
The other people have that gimmick. You've joined the ranks of every other YouTuber that has a hockey mask in their background.
Well, yeah. Got to get the subs, baby.
Wade is a good character. F off, Wade. That's a great side character. He's in the movie for 2 seconds.
Yeah. And Rachel's boyfriend.
Oh, he's saying Bill Williams killed her husband. So she killed Heath Ledger. There you
go. The Joker.
Do you get any of that? Do you understand any of that right there?
Yeah, you're talking about Michelle Williams being nominated for something, and he comes back with she's nominated for The Fabelmans. And Josh the Horror Guy says he's going to be seeing Kane the Wrestler here in a few weeks. I guess he's going to Monday Night Raw.
Or either he's going to a
It's not that funny. It's not that funny.
I was supposed to bring up he was going to like a board meeting for the Tennessee mayor. Then I realized he's talking about Kane Hodder. He said, "What's wrestling that got me?" It's gonna be one of those nights where I giggle. Oh, I think Nick's talking about Courtney Love.
Yeah, she killed her husband too. A lot of hoes out there. Y'all got to be careful.
Oh. I apologize in advance for my mic. I'm sorry, guys. Boom! Blake, when I told you when we see Dimension Films, it looks a lot better the last movie than it does this movie. I don't get the nostalgic feeling. They sharpened it up a little bit right here. Scream 2 came out like 9 months, less than a year. Maybe it was 10 months. Less than a year after the original. The original script, Blake, leaked like 2 days after it was put out. Like I think Wes Craven said he had the script in his hand 4 days, the first 40 pages, and it hit the internet within like just a few days.
All right.
So this is I almost had to cough. Sorry. So this is when the internet started really screwing up Hollywood, because from that point on, depending on which rumors you believe, they pretty much changed the whole movie, because the script that I read had drastically different characters doing different things. We'll talk about this at the end of the movie. So in the last review, Blake, I talked about seeing a commercial on MTV for your chance to win a walk-on role, a cameo role in Scream 2. And I couldn't find that commercial anywhere. I was going to air it for you tonight because I know you didn't believe me. And I told you my mind was just, my imagination was going crazy at what they could possibly do with this movie. And we get the Dimension logos, and the first thing we see is this crap right here. We're introduced to the Stab franchise and all these weirdos lined up around the block to go see this movie. And the first thing we see is Willie Mays Hayes, the fake Willie Mays Hayes, and get my wife's name out of your mouth to start this movie.
Yeah, can you go back to that other shot, Ronnie? Because it's not a very big line. I think it's going to be the similar line that we have for Scream 6. And tonight, it says sneak preview tonight only. So it's a preview tonight. So are we showing the opening kill scene and that's it? Or are they getting to sit through the whole movie, Ronnie? What's the deal here?
That is a great question, Blake.
And I've never lived in a town, a big city where they actually go through with the promotion of this. Like they actually built, look at the prop of the hand coming down with the knife. Every poster in front of the theater is stab and stab only, even on the window to the left there. I mean, I love, them going all out for this. Like there's no other movies playing at this place.
Yeah, what do you think? What kind of baseball cards do you think you can buy in that shop right next door?
Let's see, it's 1998. I mean, I'm sure you can get some
No, it's
McGuire.
7.
1997. I'm sure you can get some Sammy Sosa, Bart McGuire cards, a couple of Roger Clemens. Yeah, some Steve Young. No, it's baseball.
If we knew then what we know now, we'd just load up on wrestling cards at that place right there and get them graded.
That's right.
Those things are super expensive. Omar Epps and Jada Pinkett Smith start this movie. And if you paid attention to the first movie, you know who our opening kills are going to be. They go out and got another big star. Bigger or smaller star, Blake, than Drew Barrymore?
I'm going to say bigger because I was a Nutty Professor guy and I thought she was smoking hot in Nutty Professor. But what's really fascinating to me, I do believe you, Ronnie. You said a fan could win a bit part in this movie, right?
Yes.
Well, I mean, look no further. In the background, we got Shane Emerson himself standing in line behind Omar Epps here, and he's in line to see Stab. So I think that's really cool, and how humble of him to never bring that up that he was in Scream 2.
So they're going through the Kevin. I'm going to get quiet, Blake, every time I see the thing drop down, so don't think I'm a weirdo. Anyway, they do the usual the Kevin Williamson dialogue where they're all into horror movies, and they talk about how black characters are overshadowed in horror movies, so she wants to go see Sandra Bullock instead. And Omar's got a great line about, Sandra Bullock is really Mrs. D. They talk about they want to see an all-black cast and Black Eyed Peas. This right here is what I want to talk about, the fact that if they gave one of these out to every person that came in, then they lost their money. They lost their money. And how cool would it be, Blake, if you went to the movies and you got that official Kane Hodder mask?
That would be awesome. I really love this intro. The idea of going to see the movie and everybody in the theaters dressed up as the killer. I mean, I just think it's a fantastic idea. And it's very similar to what we're going to see in Scream 6 with it being Halloween. And on the subway, everyone's dressed as a killer and you got people dressed as Ghostface. I mean, it's very similar to that. But yeah, this is really cool. Check the chat, Ronnie. We got some stuff going on.
Some copies of Scream on VHS actually have a small preview of Scream 2. Our buddy Darren said that Scream 2 came out like 5 months after Scream 1 because it took Scream 1 so long to get over there. Shane Emerson, have you guys ever seen Kevin Williamson's new flick, Slick? No. Or is it Sick? Sick. No, have not seen Sick.
I've heard good things about it, though.
Omar Epps slaps Ghostface in an alternate scene.
That's a Chris Rock joke.
Ah, I got you. Great point, Blake. Scream on Halloween night will be great. So they go through this, and Jada Pinkett Smith makes it known that she does not want to be at this movie. Blake, you know me and people. This is absolutely horrible to me. Look at this asshole running up the aisle. You know my movie theater rules. You go in there, you sit down, you be quiet.
Yeah.
Okay? You don't scream and cut up. You just act like you're supposed to act.
Yeah, this looks like a nightmare.
I mean, you've got multiple adults standing up, doing the stab motion right here. People chasing people. They're walking down through there. He's got the cool leather jacket. And that's their first mention of the Stab franchise. It's going to become a huge thing in these movies. We learned based on the book, The Woodsboro Murders by Gail Weathers. So a question I got to ask you, Blake. In Scream 1, she had already written a book on the Maureen Prescott situation. Did she turn around and write a second book after that?
That's a really good question. I'm going to say no. I think that the book, this might be the original book. It just blew up after it happened again, and she was proven right that Cotton was innocent.
But they do talk about this movie's based off that book.
Okay.
So if this movie is about the people getting Woodsboro,
Well,
then
then
she
I'm
would-
wrong, Ronnie. Move on.
She would have to write a new book.
Hey, at this point, does she looks good? Does Jada Pinkett have Propecia or whatever it's called?
No, she ain't got Propecia. Mercedes Lane. Blake, I've ran into her a few times. She's never ran into me once. She's an awful actress, by the way.
No, she's not. She's perfect.
So they go through and somehow they know everything that happened at the beginning of Scream. I don't know how they figured out exactly what happened at the beginning, but they know it's scene by scene, and they're cutting to the crowd. They got Scream-O-Vision, aka everything is glowing in the dark. Leaves out because she's had enough of this stuff. The first thing I thought, and the reason I saved this, Blake, is how old is too old to work in a movie theater?
That's tough, Ronnie.
Before you answer, I did find out that this is a cameo for the director of photography. So that's the reason they got an old guy in this. But how old is too old to work in a movie theater? And then I have a story.
I applied to work at the theater when I was 17, and they told me I was too old. So this guy's definitely too old.
During the pandemic, when I didn't have a job, I applied for, no, this was actually pre-pandemic. I was sitting at my job one day.
This is
and
before things got bad.
This is before things got bad. I was sitting there and I said, what the hell? I'm going to apply for a job at the movie theater. And I filled out everything, the whole application, and they never called me. I put all my degrees and stuff on there. They never called me.
That's where you messed up. They're not. The manager is not going to hire somebody more educated than him.
Right here, you've got these chicks that walk up, and I think this freaks out Jada Pinkett more than it should, because that one's calling her a coward or whatever. And she goes, it's just a movie. And she goes, no, it's not just a movie. A bunch of kids got killed in California a few years ago.
I think that blonde chick is the chick from Saving Silverman. I could be wrong, but I hadn't seen this movie in a long time. I think she is the main chick.
Omar Epps comes diving out of there. He's the worst Willie Mays Hayes ever. And he tries to scare her. And she's like, okay, knock it off, dude. Knock it off.
The theater don't have Coke products. Theater only has Pepsi products. That's ridiculous. Hey, that was a nice jacket, too.
Yes, I mean, it's like what the Hackett brothers used to wear on Wings.
It is. It really is.
What's going on right here?
What scene are they showing, Ronnie? Is it still the intro?
This is after one of the jump scares.
Yeah. This is where they show Ghostface on the roof.
Yes. Now, is he just a rando sitting there? Is he just a rando sitting there and she's watching, or are these on a date? Because I got a problem if they're on a date.
I'm sure you do. I think he's trying to change his luck. I think this is a date, Ronnie.
There's no way this is a date. This is a good.
Well, it's definitely not going to be another date. She wore overalls to the effing movie, so she can can it. She can make other plans for next weekend because it ain't going to be with this guy.
He looks like a pig, and he's a stud. I don't understand it. I don't understand it at all. I mean, I know maybe I don't understand it. Maybe he's just her friend. Who knows? Got Ghostface pissing in the bathroom, but what I want to focus over there, Blake, somebody's been writing on the crap house walls.
Yeah, there is some hieroglyphics going on over there. Now, if it were me writing, Ronnie, and I know hindsight's 20/20. I mean, obviously, if you see a mistake, you'd fix it. But when Omar Epps walked in, I would have these two Ghostface shitting in the urinal. It's scarier because they're looking at him. Now, is this Mrs. Loomis and Mickey? That's the question.
No, it's not, because Mickey's in the stall because he passes those guys right by.
Okay, so is this Stu and Mrs. Loomis?
This might be Stu and Mrs. Loomis. Here's the thing. Who's going to wear that robe in there to go number one?
What is that noise coming out of Mrs. Loomis? Is that piss? Is she pissing standing up?
This is a brutal kill right here, Blake. He hears some weird talking over there in the other stall. He puts his ear there, and somehow Mickey knows that he's there and stabs him right through the bathroom stall. It takes a lot of power to get through there, Blake. Stabs him right in the temple. He's there for a second, bleeding out the mouth. He pulls his head off the knife, which is a brutal scene, and he falls dead right there. This is probably the most violent kill to me in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good kill, but
No, well, not the cop. I'm sorry. The cop is obviously the most
E-
violent.
even as a 10-year-old though, Ronnie, I'm like, wait a minute. That was really lucky, that stab, that he had his head there. Who puts their head up against the wall in a bathroom? I
To
mean,
listen to somebody take a dump.
exactly. I mean, I don't know. Ronnie, I get what you're saying about it. I agree with Nick. Nick just put in the chat, it might be the goofiest kill in the franchise. I think it's really goofy. I think this scene is very creepy because you're in the bathroom at a theater, but it could have been a lot better. It could have been a lot better. Him just randomly, or her just randomly stabbing the bathroom door and getting lucky that he had his head up against it. This whole theater scene is fantastic, though. It's super scary. It's intense. I really do like it.
Blake, the pulling his skull off the knife is what I'm talking about being brutal, not the concept of Mickey having to guess where he's at and you sunk my battleship style. Just him pulling his head off the blade is what I'm talking about as being very brutal in this scene.
All right.
Of course, Mickey's got to pull a Michael Myers and dress up like Bob and go back to the seat and Scream 2. He sits down wearing Omar Epps' jacket, and this next scene is going to look worse than it really is. He's not doing the popcorn bucket trick. She's just leaning over. Her hand looks like that for innocent reasons. Then she's got blood on her hands because she realizes something's up here. Meanwhile, the rest of these guys are going ape shit in here. Look at the guy behind her right there with the tank top on. It's pretty sure that's a bra he's wearing. So everybody in here is going nuts. And of course, she gets stabbed in the gut. He works her over left and right. And like a true selfish human being, she gets up in the middle of the theater and blocks the screen so they can't see the movie and dies in front of everybody.
Yeah. They shut it down right then, too. They didn't get to finish. Now, look at these losers. And, like, they're... I mean, it's like and you're right. That is a bra. Look back there. I found the guy. He's like wearing a WWF Demolition's outfit back there. Check that out, Ronnie.
He's got a singlet on. What is he doing?
I don't know. And one chick didn't even bother to stand up in the front row.
She ain't worried about it.
It's so awesome. You see everybody take off their mask and say, oh my gosh, is this a skit? You still got one chick over there to the right, fist bumping, loving it. She's dead. All right. You got Rob Riggle in the middle. I mean, you got to cast characters here.
My thing is, this is the last thing this saw before she died. This gaggle of losers right here.
Yeah.
And there your cold opening to Scream 2. So let's take a look at the chat real quick, Blake. This thing is popping right now. I'm going to back it up a little bit. Let's see.
Back it up.
Back it up. Shane, I want to see a pic of you in that mask later this week. Have no idea what they're talking about, Blake. Nick Push agrees. She wrote the second book because Dewey quotes it. Shane continues to be a pervert, talking about Boogie Nights when it comes to Heather Graham, Roller Girl. Josh the Horror Guy is not a fan of Pepsi. I mean, why is everyone so excited for a movie they've never seen with a story they only seem to know about? Because they're trying to make out, Shane, this movie, that the moviegoers are bloodthirsty maniacs and they don't care if it's true or not. They just want to act like idiots in the movie theater. Josh the Horror Guy says, we have a movie theater in Maryland theme like this in the bathroom.
Shane's been there.
What is this, Blake? I don't understand.
That's the name of the theater, Ronnie.
Ah, okay.
You
Chris
forget
Fantassi
those two are neighbors.
Ah, okay. That's right. Okay, I got it now. There's Nick Push saying it might be the goofiest kill in franchise. Nick needs to lighten up. Nick needs to calm down, relax, deep breath. Chill out. It was worth it for the next scene if he could have been much more believable with Omar's kill. All right. Is anybody else on guard while in a public restroom? I'm usually ready to throw tornado kicks when I walk out of a stall. I'm always worried about, somebody trying to come in a stall too, Josh. It's really weird in there. I was fascinated today because I went to Walmart and there's 5 people across there pissing. I was fascinated how each person has a different stance. Like one person was leaning over, right shoulder down. The other one's butt poked out a little bit. Another one does the me where they try to get up into the urinal. You
No,
know,
Ronnie,
day.
I am very aggressive when it comes to the urinal situation. Like, so you had those two ghost face standing next to each other with an open one next to them. I get in line right behind them, to where they can't even back up and leave and tell them I'm next.
Okay, Shane says you got to think about the fact Mickey was stalking them because he knew where she was sitting. Later on in the movie, we see that Mickey's filming them from a car that probably Mrs. Loomis is driving. So Mickey probably gave them the tickets that they had, to be honest with you.
Wait a minute. Filming from a car?
Yeah. He's filming these two go into the theater from a car.
I've never seen that.
It's on the footage when the Gail and Dewey are watching.
Oh, I never noticed that.
Shane wants to know when you're going to see Scream 6, Blake.
No, he's talking to Josh the horror guy. My name's Blake.
Oh, my bad. I can't read. All right. These guys are just having a conversation here, Blake. I can't do it. All right. You're right, Shane. Okay. No more chat. Can't handle it. So, cold opening, Blake. Cold opening. And here we go. You know she's on a college campus because there's a weirdo riding a bike. Okay. It looks like something's going on with the face. Maybe one of those Geico cavemen. I don't know. And here's the deal. Here's our heroine. Here is Sydney Prescott asleep. For some reason, they want to show her off in these opening scenes, Blake, and it's not very, you ask me. Look at the placement of this bed right here. This table is awful close to the end of her mattress. This is not ideal for any decor right here, Blake, because if she moves around like me, she's going to hit her head on the corner of that table.
Yeah, I know, and there's supposed to be like a dorm room or whatever, so you don't really have a lot of space. But I mean, we have a bed that's catty cornered. I mean, what are we doing? We're not. I mean, are you stupid?
Maybe. And she's getting a call from the very beginning. Hello, Sydney. And she's no selling this big time. Who is this? And we find out, Blake, Dobie Gillis has called, and she gets him right off the bat.
Dobie?
Well, that's an old school Nick at Night show. Corey Gillis has called her, and she hits him with the, hey, I'm smart in this movie. I've got Bell South sponsoring this bad boy, and I can see your phone right here. And he's
and that's like a little taste of reality too, Ronnie, because after Scream 1996, almost everyone in the country had caller ID after that because of that, including us. We went and got caller ID too.
Yeah. All right, Twitch chat's popping, Blake.
Harper donates $3 and asks, what did you guys think of Sydney's new look? Personally, I give her a solid 6 for her face, but she must have left her ass in her other britches.
I think Sydney looks much better in part 2 than she does in part 1. The question is does Gail look better in part 2 than she does part 1? But
I said yes.
I was about to answer my question.
I'm sorry. Right off the bat, Kevin Williamson's got to get a cameo in this second movie right here. He's talking to this freaking weirdo who wants beyond anything else to be famous. He's doing Current Edition, and Cotton Weary's making the circuit, looking good. I'll give him that. He's built like a twerp. He's looking good. And he goes, but you were exonerated. Gail Weathers' book told everybody the real story. Yeah, and a nickel gets you a cup of coffee, but that's not true anymore either. And he's looking around for laughs. And I don't know, Blake. The short hair does help Sydney right here.
It does.
She's nothing special. I'm going to fast forward here in just a second. This right here.
This is a killer scene. You're right. This is your argument right here.
Yeah, this is, hey, the defense rests. What an ugly human being. Look at this. This looks like Paul Hogan standing there in a pair of shorts like it. I doubt Paul Hogan probably looks better.
Yeah, Jim Varney has a better ass than Sydney does right here. And it looks like she's about to put on her Freddy Krueger shirt, too.
Yeah, a lot of people point to the fact that looks like a Freddy Krueger shirt, but I don't think it's supposed to be. I'm going to back it up right here. Look at all these damn flamingos, Blake. What's with this pink decor? I didn't know it lets you paint a dorm room.
It's got to be a hidden thing that we don't know about.
I don't know. I mean, is that like a
Wildcats kick butt? I was going to say maybe Flamingos is like the mascot of the college, but apparently they're the Wildcats.
Why did her and Randy go to the same college?
What do you mean?
They went to a college in Ohio. It's not like they're going to college in California. This movie takes place in Ohio, Blake.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that either.
Yeah. So you learned something. Look at this.
That's
Look at
rough.
that.
That's not a good look.
No, Jerry O'Connell would look better in this outfit. So the whole beginning of it, we're introduced to Allie right here, who is one of the worst people in the movie because she's using Sydney to try to get into a sorority, Blake.
Okay.
No, seriously, she's actually using Sydney. You got to come to the sorority mixer because they're not going to pick me unless you're there. And of course, somebody comes running up. Y'all got to check the TV. Somebody's dead. Ernie Hudson's in this movie, Blake, and he's playing a reporter right here. And he talks about people getting stabbed to death at the theater right outside the baseball card shop.
I loved him in Cowboy Way. I think he's better in Cowboy Way than he is in Ghostbusters. But I forgot he had a cameo in this movie.
Hey, you talking about Bill Pickett?
I'm talking about Bill Pickett.
Now, this is one of the scenes, Blake, from the MTV commercial that I told you about. You see Cotton getting whisked away in the car from part one where they show him on the clip, and then they show Sydney coming out with cameras all in her face. And all I'm sitting there doing, watching that MTV commercial going, what's happening in Scream 2? What could possibly be happening to cause all of this chaos? This is going to be great. What? It didn't live what I built it up to be. Right here, douchebag 101, Blake. This whole scenario right here made me want to go to college. And this is the reason I'm paying off like $600,000 in student loans with no degree, because there's no college classes like this. All these idiots are sitting around here talking about the murders, and they're all making film references left and right. And for some reason, this guy right here, Mickey, they say, who would want to make a sequel? They're inferior films. So he's like defending it, and he's arguing with Buffy the Vampire Slayer over this. And Pacey from Dawson's Creek is in this movie. And here's Randy with his new look. He dyed the ginger all over, apparently. Brown hair, no red, little Scooby-Doo shaggy hair going. What do you think of this look?
I'm trying to figure out what everything you just said because your mic is terrible. This is a bad look. And it makes me, seeing Pacey for that split second that you showed, it makes me very sad that he didn't have a bigger role in this movie. It should have been Pacey and Mickey as the killers.
You're going right there with Pacey. It's amazing how much we love Dawson's Creek all these years later.
Well, I'm a Mighty Ducks guy too, Ronnie, at heart. I think Charlie Conway is one of the best hockey players in fictional land. He
does get the house 2, the second story in there. All right, let's check the chat real quick because they're piling up right here. I start with Shane. You know I love Shane. Craven with some great satire, over-exaggerating while still remaining grounded. Nick Push has got to be mean to us. Not so easy with a lively chat, is it, gentlemen? Chris Fantazi, is that the only picture she has?
Oh, he's talking about Cindy and her mom on the dresser.
I won't comment on this one, boys. 6 is too low. Come on. Well, it's 6 for the face, Shane. It's probably a 2 for everything else. Those Gale Part 3 bangs are iconic. Shane really doesn't like. Shane, the bigger thing you need to focus on from Part 3 is this is only Part 3 is a couple of years after Part 2. Look at how rough life has been on Courtney Cox between Part 2 and Part 3. What was she putting in her body? Nick Push, Cotton Weary, best character in the franchise. Liv can act circles around everybody else in the franchise. I don't disagree with that right there. Sydney has no butt. Thank you, Chris. Cotton shouldn't have died the way he did. Didn't do characters justice. I've got some theories on Cotton. He should have been a murderer in this movie. Randy loved Sydney, I guess is what he's saying.
Yeah, that's why he went to the same college, Ronnie.
Oh, okay. I got it now. Ohio is a real place. I'm glad you're here to help me with that, Blake. Most normal college in Ohio. It said Bell South of Ohio. Good point. Shane, do you know the actor messed up his line, was supposed to say what Randy did? Yes, Shane, I do know that. He actually gets the aliens line correct, and then Randy corrects him with the wrong line. And depending on who you believe, they say that these guys switched it up because they were rehearsing together and they both screwed up. So it comes off like Randy doesn't know what he's talking about. It's stay away from her, UB. This is class, right? This is douchebag 101, though. I'll give it that. Here is where I thought, Blake, this movie was going to get interesting because you can tell Jamie Kennedy's been going to the gym. He's got a little, he's like JR would say, his upper chest area looks a little bit more developed. He's ready for the mid card and he's wearing the tight shirt. He's dressed nice. He's not wearing green shoes like in part one. He says, they ask him, how would you change it, Mr. Know-It-All? And he goes, I'd let the geek get the girl. Okay. And I'm like, okay, him and Sydney are dating because she shows up at his classroom looking for him. I was like, they're dating. That would only make sense. They both went through terrible trauma. He's fascinated and in love with this girl. She went with the safe bet. She's dating Randy, and they're together and went to college together. The one thing we didn't talk about in this scene, Blake, is just how frustrated Mickey gets when everybody brings up that sequels are inferior films to the original. He's like, he is so mad about that and makes arguments about, it's a BS generalization. And they start trying to, what is this? What is that? Let's check out the Twitch.
Boz donates a 5K and says, no way I would have watched Stab in that theatre. It was a zoo, and I would have asked for my money back.
What an idiot.
Loggerhead, 5,000 donates 2 subscriptions and says Gale Weathers is the meanest bitch in this movie. But I'd still let her get me pregnant.
There you go. I don't even know anymore, Blake. But they're walking together right here. For some reason, Randy's doing a British accent, Blake. Did you do any research to figure out why? Anybody in the chat, if you know why he's doing the British accent, please let me know.
Yeah, and that's when you realize, oh, yeah, I really don't like this guy.
Exactly. He's not a good guy. And then quickly you find out he's not dating Sydney because the fat guy from Stand By Me shows up looking gorgeous and he just takes her. And Randy's in the back. Once again, third wheel, watching Sydney do everybody but him, Blake.
It happens.
Okay, I'm getting maneuvered right here. Sorry. Here she is, Blake. Take it away.
Well, I don't think this is a good shot of her. I like her when she's wearing the black pants and white top. But, yeah, I really dig the short hair. I dig it on her. I dig it on Sydney. I think it's a good look. I think this is, do you call it the Rachel from Friends haircut, Ronnie? I mean, it seems like everybody in 97, 98, 99 had this hair.
Yeah, they don't do the bangs. What do you think about that haircut?
I like it. It's parted down the middle. Very Nirvana. I like it.
What's going on right over here to the side? There's a lot of football being played on this campus.
Well, yeah, I'm sure that guy just fumbled and the coach is making him tote it around all day.
The program, love it. So we're introduced to a new cameraman, and right away I said, this guy's the killer because he plays the goof. I was at the bingo finals. Later in the movie, he disappears, and we find out that the killer's been filming stuff. Randy gets killed in the van. Spoiler alert if you hadn't seen this movie. He disappears and comes back. He's wearing the boots of the killer. I know it's all red herring stuff, but I thought for sure he was going to be the killer in this movie when I originally watched it. Blake, did you know? Let's talk about the original script that most of the internet says is fake, but I'm going to choose to believe it's real. The original 40-page treatment that Kevin Williamson had, Randy was Gale's cameraman. He wasn't in college. He was Gale's cameraman right here.
No, I didn't know that. I've never heard that. And does that mean Randy would have lived, Ronnie?
I can't remember. I read the whole freaking thing, but I want to say he died. Everybody died. I want to say he died, and the ending was freaking crazy. I don't know. What was the last Twitch question we got, Blake?
I'm not sure. Just play it.
Dudley Dawson donates 2 cigarettes and says Sydney shouldn't worry about Omega Beta Zeta. They are a bunch of pigs.
Knock on your door and they're there in your house. If you can't talk love, then you better get out. They are women without it.
That is true. They are a bunch of pigs, Blake.
That's a bunch of pigs.
I love the Twitch chat. They're so much better than the YouTube chat. All right, so Jackie from Roseanne shows up, Blake. Debbie Salt, and she's buttering up Gale Weathers. Let me go ahead and say this, Blake. I know you're a huge fan of Gale Weathers. I think she's she's the worst human being in this franchise. At no point has she ever had an arc where she becomes a decent human being. In part 1, she just wants to be famous. Okay. In part 2, she is famous. And how does she act? She treats everybody like dirt. Okay. She's so mean to Debbie Salt right here. Your flattering remarks are pathetic. And then she's up there and she's like snapping. Hold on. She's snapping Kenny the camera guy, whatever his name is, right here to film me, interrupting David Arquette's dad. So it's just crazy. I cannot stand her character. And she probably acts like that in real life, which is why her face looks like Ghostface now. Louis Arquette's in this movie. The only Arquette that wasn't in this movie was David Arquette's brother that dresses like a woman. I think he would have been good in this. George?
So a lot of Halloween references in Scream 1, Ronnie, is the mom being the killer a reference to Friday the 13th?
Absolutely, Blake. I think with this movie, they did the opposite of Friday the 13th, and I think they meant to do it. In Friday the 13th, the original movie that they mentioned in part 1, Mrs. Voorhees is the killer. Jason shows up to kill in part 2. In Scream 2, the mother shows up to kill in this one because the son killed in part 1. I think they did that on purpose. I really do.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, but Randy had 8 minutes of screen time in this movie. Like I filmed it today, but there's a huge ordeal going on campus. And the reason I've got this footage right here, Blake, is because what Mickey's doing right now.
Yeah, and you never notice it. I mean, as a casual, I've never noticed that he's sitting there recording, and then at the end we have a bunch of recordings. So, of course, you should have known it was Mickey. Plus, you never see him for like the last 30 minutes of the movie. I think so, Shane.
All right. Am I missing something? I'm going to come to the chat here later. Here's Ellen's girlfriend or Ellen's wife and the chick that ran over the guy from Urban Legend.
That's right.
They play the two sorority people that the chick's trying to get into their sorority. Characters
So is she the blonde? Is she off Arrested Development?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
They're the worst. And I think they brought their mother or their guyish sister over here in the right-hand corner right there. I don't know what's going on with that one, but the dough didn't bake right. Anyway, they just themselves as, hey, we're the heels. Here's an idiot. There's a huge press conference going on campus, and this idiot can't find it. He's over looking at a tree trying to find Sydney.
He's asking the tree, have you seen Sydney? Excuse me, tree.
Excuse me, tree. Can I make like a tree and leave? Have you seen Sydney or Randy? So here's a really beautiful scene, though, Blake. These two back together. He came all the way from California just to check on her to make sure she's okay. He's a surrogate big brother. They find a way to make this whole thing about them. Let's talk about the alternate version, Blake, because I'll forget it if we don't. The alternate version had Allie and Derek as the killers. And they were like off a Psycho website that had met, and he pretended to be her boyfriend or whatever, became her boyfriend just so they could kill her. And that's in a couple of the trailers. Hello, Sydney. It's time, girlfriend.
Isn't that the story with Scream 5? The guy becomes her boyfriend?
Well, becomes Samantha's boyfriend, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see what I've left out right here. Loved him in Oz. Randy misquotes aliens. Shane Emerson, did you know that? Yeah, we talked about that. Mrs. Loomis dogs him. I guess he's talking about Randy. Oh, here's great. Randy has jobber written all over his forehead. You were right, Josh. Randy claims T2 isn't better than T1. False. T2 is better. I would agree on that, Shane. Go to a movie in Philadelphia. I guess he's talking about it being a zoo. I think it was just Jamie Kennedy doing it in his own. Oh, he's talking about the British voice. She looks better now. Gail, that is. Fantasie is definitely on some drugs. Courtney Cox looks now. Neve Campbell's one of the nicest actresses I've ever met. Where'd you meet her, Josh, at one of these conventions? She'd be nice to you. Let's see. Monster Mania. Okay, Josh said he met her at Monster Mania. Gail was always looking for glory. She was selfish and arrogant. I agree. I don't know how Nick Push goes through these chats as smoothly as he does. Is Gail going to bite it and scream 6? Of course, Shane.
I think so.
She's dead. You go ahead and put it in the books. She thinks she's too big for Scream. Kill me off. Guarantee it. I don't know anything about the movie, but I'm predicting that. It's just always guesses right there.
I hope so. Strictly because I think it's time to usher in this new crowd. I think we need to get rid of the old people, Ronnie, and start with a new young crew. Okay.
I like that Shane appreciates that picture of Dewey staring at the tree. It was hard to see Dewey serious after Doofy in Scary Movie. Though I thought they were going to pull a Doofy in this movie. The actress who plays Allie confirmed she originally was one of the killers, of course. So that script I read was right. I knew it. All right, total fanboy mode. So yeah, at the end of Scary Movie, Doofy's been walking around with a limp and a bad arm, and he does the total Kaiser Sose from Usual Suspects, where he starts walking regular and he's just pretending to be the whole time. I thought we that moment here in Scream where Dewey comes back and he kills for his sister dying, and everybody's saying he's a joke and a virgin. And then he reveals at the end he really doesn't have a limp.
Would have been a lot better for sure. But do you put him with Mickey, Ronnie, or do you put him with Mrs. Loomis?
Blake.
Or do you put him with Allie?
In a perfect world.
It's him and Cotton.
I know, yeah. That's exactly what's going on. In a perfect world, it's him and Cotton. I know Zach Cherry said this movie was perfect the way it was. But in a perfect movie for me, Dewey's killing these two because he says that he thinks they should be dead along with his sister, and he's trying to kill Gail as well. And Cotton Weary gets out, and his life sucks, so he wants to kill everybody that ruined it. So that would have been the way I went. Now I know people love Cotton; they love 100% Cotton in Part 3 for that 30 seconds he's in the movie. But that's just the way I would have went. I would have tied it up with a nice little bow there after Part 2. Unless it made a ton of money. Hey, here we go, Blake. Twitch chat.
Sleazy donates nothing and says that Allie Chick was never getting into that sorority with her hairline looking like that.
Well, it's true. She didn't have Sasha Banks.
Nelson Mandela Effect donates 2 bits and says, I really thought Sidney was going to be able to save Derek when she cut the massive bullet wound on his chest. What a dumbass.
These guys are jumping way ahead of the movie. I don't understand it. Gail pulls a Gail move, Blake, and she interrupts Sidney and has Cotton Weary there, and she's just going to what's it called, guerrilla journalism, just run up to him and say, hey, boom, talk to Cotton Weary. And this idiot's walking up with his freaking jacket that's too big, probably borrowed it from his dad. And of course that ends up with her slapping the piss out of Gail and Gail going down. Gail don't have a very tough jaw. She goes down easily.
We got a chick in the background breaking the fourth wall, Ronnie, behind Sidney. She's looking right at us. Can you go back to the previous picture, though? Because I want to know how hot it is in Ohio. Maybe Josh Sahara guy can help us out. I think he's from there. You got a guy in the background who's doing split-legged back there because he's got swamp nuts, clearly. He's got swamp ass really bad, so he's going split-legged. The cop can't believe it. He's looking down at him. So
he's ready
just a lot going on. This is the stuff I pick up on. Like, I can't tell you who the killer's going to be, but I can tell you right now how hot it is in Ohio.
Well, he probably didn't wear underwear, Blake, and he's got the pants on, and now it's hot, and he's starting to sweat. And you got to get a wide base, especially when there's a breeze.
Yeah,
so you can try to cool it down before you get raw.
That's right. Otherwise, everything's going to be sticking to your leg if you don't go wide like that.
And you can tell this campus police guy, he's been on the job a lot. He knows the stance of a pervert, and he knows the minute he reaches for that zipper, he's going to dive in there on him and pepper spray him. So good pull right there, Blake. I like it. And look in the background, the dude's so pumped up, too, that he just got to see woman-on-woman violence. And there's the hairline that Sleazy was talking about on Allie.
Did you get that on film?
Yes, I got that on film.
Geek.
So Dewey's walking around with his arm like this.
How does he look? Okay, so we want to talk about how bad Gail looks from 1 to 2 to 2 to 3. What happened to Dewey from Part 1 to Part 2? How come he looks like he aged 25 years? Is it the limp?
It rhymes with drugs. So if you really want to know the secret to Dewey's success between Part 1 and Part 2, drugs, allegedly. I gotta say allegedly.
I'm going to go ahead and say
Allegedly,
this. I'm going
he's
to go
on
ahead and say
coke.
Dewey's role in the original was perfect. I think Dewey's performance in this one may be his best. He should have died in this movie. That
He
should have
did in
been
the
it.
original.
That should have been it. Him getting stabbed up against that glass with that fantastic score playing in the background should have been the
Stepped in
end of
pizza
Dewey.
like an idiot. Yeah, but in the original script, he's dead. He's deader in hell.
Well, he was originally dead in the original too, right?
Yeah. Buffy the Vampire Slayer's in this movie, Blake. They put her in some tight-fitting spandex type things.
I hear she's not a good person in real life. What do you think about that?
That's probably 99% of the people we're talking about in this movie, Blake. I mean, I know Josh the horror guy said that Nev Campbell was nice to him, but he just handed her $300. Hell, I'll be nice to anybody for $300.
That's true. That's
Don't
true.
touch me. But you can have a picture for $300 with your own phone.
$300. $300. I better be getting breakfast. You know what I'm talking about.
I know. She's a sober sister, and she's talking to some idiot like me and you are doing right now, talking about a movie. And she keeps getting calls from Ghostface. And I thought this right here, I took this shot, Blake. I thought it was super cool that she gets freaked out because she's talking to somebody she don't know who's being really weird. And she sees this right here, and she's like, okay, something's not up. And she just hangs up on him. He breaks back in, by the way, because the sister from the Vegas vacation, Griswold, dives up in there and grabs the phone, and she thinks it's her boyfriend, Ted. The real thing I want to talk about before she gets killed, Blake, why do you think there's no eating in the living room of this place?
Well, I mean, I was about to bring that up, Ronnie. There's no way I could be a part of the Omega house because I'm definitely eating in the living room. I'm eating in the bathroom. I'm eating in my bedroom. I'm eating in every room that's in that house.
I grew up in a place where we didn't eat at the bar. My wife still is like, she's like, we're not going to eat at the table. And I was like, what table? We didn't buy a dining room table for like the first 2 years we was married. I was like, don't need it. We got a couch right over there.
Yeah, there's a
What's going
couch
on?
and a coffee table.
We had to get rid of the coffee table. Blake, this freaking chat is nuts. Hold on. Let's stop right here. Let me back it up. Fantasy's the best.
Fantasy's fantastic.
Fantasy is fantastic. Blake in your son's room again.
Yeah, I'm always in my son's room.
He's getting ready to pee. Hilarious out of context.
He's talking about that the guy is split-legged back there. He's just going to start pissing while Cotton is being interviewed back there.
Ronnie, you keep freezing. Yes, Chris, I understand that. Just hang with us. If it's really bad when I watch it, I'll resubmit it up and it'll be clear. Don't worry, bud.
No, it won't.
Ronnie, did you like the leaked script better than the final version of the film? Shane, I did like the leaked script better than the final version of the film because it had some finality to it. And let's go ahead and do you want to wait to the end of the show, Blake, before we talk about how they ended that movie, or you want to talk about it now?
Let's talk about it now. Shane's got it fresh on our minds.
Okay, so the end of the movie sees Allie and Derek as both the killers. They kill both of them. Cotton Weary some kill both of them. Then Cotton Weary realizes he has to kill Sid, ever going to be the main focus of attention. So he goes nuts and tries to kill Sydney, and Sydney kills him.
I like it.
So
I mean, call me sexist all you want. I'm just not buying a female killer. The only female killer I've ever bought is Mrs. Voorhees in Friday 13th. I'm not a fan of Mrs.
Michael.
I'm not a fan of Mrs. Loomis. I'm not a fan of the chick from Scream 5. I'm not a fan of Urban Legend. I mean, like I said, call me. Hey, it's a new guy, huh? Michael Thomas. I've never met this guy.
A Saints player. Scream 2 is the last movie in the franchise I wasn't completely spoiled on.
I don't think I've been spoiled on any of them except for this last one.
I'm not spoiled on it still. Better Jerry O'Connell performance this movie or Tomcats? Of course, it's Tomcats. I want to hear 3 words.
I've never seen Tomcats, but I did like Jerry O'Connell and his brother in Dude, Where's My Car? Wait a minute. Go back to Michael Thomas. Is this Bud?
Is that Bud?
It could be Bud.
Bud got on with the wrong thingamajig. He looking good in that picture too, by the way.
He looks like a country singer, dude. Look at that. It's like an album cover.
Yeah, he needs to go back to that facial hair if that's Bud.
I don't know if it's Bud. I could be wrong about that, Ronnie.
Bud, go back with that look if that's you. They like Buck Cherry. This dude's bringing up damn Buck Cherry. This is the reason we can't have people in the chat. Props to the costume department. These guys are perverts. Shane Emerson's a pervert.
Wow,
No
Josh
way.
Sahar guy didn't pay anything to get his picture taken with Sydney. That's awesome. He's like pumping gas or something. And you ran
No, he
into her.
attacked
What
her in the
happened?
parking lot.
Oh, I got you. Sydney, I mean Nev.
Sydney, come here. I'm not a weirdo or anything. I'm just normal. I'm just looking for a chance. And there's Nick Push giving it away. Shane Emerson says, "Oh shit, Blaster just went live. See ya, Shane. I know
See
you're
ya,
probably
Shane.
gone now.
No, you're a blaster guy. We get it.
We get it.
I cannot get over how
Look.
good looking Bud is, really.
F
I mean,
Scream 2. F Scream 2. Look at
I gotta
this.
I gotta abandon. I mean, I gotta get a new look. Look how damn sexy he is, man.
Look at this guy.
Why is
This
he
dude's
hiding?
gorgeous.
Why is he doing this? When you look like that, take the damn.
Blake, I know why he's doing it. This dude's a pro. He's so damn good looking that he makes himself look as disgusting as possible to try to keep the women away because he's probably raw.
You're probably right, Ronnie. And it's
I
saying
know
that's
he's right.
like I wouldn't know how to handle that because I never had that issue. But
That's a good looking guy.
Jesus Christ, that picture looks good. And how are you focusing on the road? Did you do a selfie and like while focusing on the road, or did somebody else take that picture? I mean,
No,
God.
he had a girl do it. I guarantee it. She was taking a picture, sending it to all her friends. Look what I'm with.
Jesus Christ, he's a good looking guy. Like, I don't even know if I can hang out, if I can talk to him anymore. I'm not worthy.
All I know is there's no reason he needs to hurry up. And what's the magical number you can get super chats? He needs to get this dude done before he can get super chats. All these women will be paying him money left and right.
Let's see. I'm promoting Shape of Horror in the background right now. Shape of Horror podcast. I'm trying to see if I can look up.
This damn stream's gonna be 12 hours because we're looking at Bud.
Listen, I love Bud, and the fact that he's a good-looking guy now, I'm even bigger fan. But I'm trying to see how many subs he's got because we got to get him to 1,000, Ronnie. So I don't know how to look it up on my son's TV. So
There's no reason Bud shouldn't be at 100,000. I got to go back. Look at his face.
I can't get over it. He should be the killer in Scream 6
Yes.
because I mean, it's always the good-looking guy.
What the hell is he looking at? I mean, if he took this himself, bravo. Look at this beautiful.
Look, I mean,
son
he's
of
got
a
the
bitch.
God Almighty. I mean, the tan and the lighting, the hair slicked back. He's got like a kind of a Negan thing going on. I mean,
He does got Negan. I want to give him half my stuff.
looky here.
I want to present myself to him like Channing Tatum did, Danny McBride, and This Is the End.
Yeah, he just like we're his gimps, like he's leading us around like dogs. Jesus Christ,
Nick
man!
Push has got to ruin it for him. He's like 3 feet tall. If that helps.
So you can see his feet and his driver's license photo. Nick,
Nick's got to ruin it. Oh,
so I mean, Ronnie, seriously, that makes Bud the best looking horror guy on YouTube, right?
well, without a doubt. I mean, I always knew it too. I knew it. I knew behind that stash that there was a star.
So it's probably Bud, then us, Craven, and then Nick Push.
Oh, yes, I think so. I wouldn't even put us on the list.
Well, I think you and I together make a
Yes.
pretty good looking one guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. And then you're right. I like the rest of it, and I'm trying to think of anybody else. You forgot to put Quentin Loves Trains on there.
Yeah, he's a good one.
All right, boys. I don't think we're a third way through this movie. Shane's trying to speed us along so he can get over to Dirty Dancing. Nick Bush. I mean, there's so much at play right here, Blake. First off, Bud logs in with his burner account. And then if he had never said anything, we wouldn't have known it was him.
Hey, Bud,
Nick
can you
Young-
subscribe to us under that account too? We need all the effing help we can get, man. Please, man. Please.
Unsubscribe with your other one with that face and subscribe with this one.
Jesus Christ. I mean,
That dude's gorgeous. I mean, F this movie.
and when you factor in he's in the Navy, you have Screw Scream too. You got a American hero who looks like that.
He's effing G.I. Joe.
He is. He should be getting his unlimited head.
Edit.
Jesus.
I don't even know.
I
mean,
really hope his wife knows how lucky she is. I bet she don't appreciate him.
I don't know, Blake. I don't know. I don't even know how to get back. I don't even know how to get back on track at this point.
Just show Stu in the background, and that'll get us talking.
All right, so
That's the next slide, right? Who
Blake,
cares? But Sarah Michelle Gellar gets killed because she's an idiot. Her name's Cece. She gets thrown off a balcony. Maybe she jumped off the balcony. Who knows? I don't think we clearly see her get thrown or not. Maybe she just got to run and start and try to get away. She thought she could hit and roll, aim for the bushes like that Rock and Samuel Jackson movie. I don't know.
guys. See, if he'd have thrown me off, first off, you got to be strong. You got to be a strong ghost face to throw me off the balcony.
Because you're going limp, right? You're just going to go limp.
Yeah, I'm going dead weight. Second, I'd land on my feet. Just like when Tango jumped out of his, not Tango, but Cash jumped out of his window.
Well, I can't land on my feet. I mean, 4 knee surgeries, Ronnie. I'm not landing on my feet, but I think I got enough cushion on the bottom. I could land ass first cannonball style, and I'd be okay.
So I want to bring up this movie at this point. They misplaced some songs all throughout this movie. And what I mean by that is you got a little Dave Matthews here in a minute when they got a little Dave Matthews here in a minute when they go to the sorority. Right here, you got a little, what's it called? Everclear playing right here. And if,
Never said I was innocent.
the wiping of the blade. How did they know that Stu did that in the original?
Well, my
Because-
thing is we got to have the same exact knife too. We can't use a different style knife. We know exactly what brand and what the curve knife he had. I mean, it gets kind of ridiculous.
Caden brings up a good point. Zach Cherry runs a close race with Bud.
Now, look, I've seen Zach Cherry. I've interviewed Zach Cherry, and I'm telling you, that picture of Bud is the sexiest thing I've ever seen in my life.
There you go. Shane bringing in some actual knowledge. If you're drunk and fall, it can't injure you because your body goes limp. So he's absolutely right. I would have went limp and he threw me off. I would have landed and I'd have been fine.
Yeah.
So we're back to these two right here, Blake. And for people that don't know,
Didn't she crash her car a few weeks ago? Is that her?
Rebecca Gayheart ran over somebody and killed him a few years ago. She's a murderer.
Oh, I was
She
thinking Anne
drunk-
Heche.
She was Anne Heche looks like the body from Halloween 2 now. So Ellen replaced her with this chick right here from Arrested Development. What's your rating on these two right here on a scale of 1 to Bud?
The blonde is a 1. I do like blonde hair, but she's super pale. She's got a surfboard body, so she's immediately getting rejected by Blake. Now, the other one, I do got to think for curly hair. So she's tan. I don't know. On a scale of 1 to Bud, I'm giving her a 4.
So in the background, guys, the reason we have this one, the reason we have this one is because Stu is in the background of this scene right there over the left of the screen. If you see the blonde head character right there above the blue, that is Stu hugging Mickey in the background. He showed up on set one day and they said, Matthew Lillard, get yourself out there and walk around in the background. This is when he had his blonde dyed hair. And here's the other part in case you guys didn't believe it. Also, Randy's doing his best to live that college life and get these girls as drunk as possible so he can possibly have a shot. But there is, some people say, if you want to buy into it, he's passing the torch to Mickey back there in the background. Pretty cool. He showed up on set and they put him in the background. This is the closest you're going to see to Matthew Lillard being in another Scream movie, unless they do our new Nightmare idea, Blake.
Yeah, I do like Randy's shirt in this one, Ronnie. That is a good looking shirt. Kind of reminds me of Charlie Harper's shirt from 2.5 Men. But I never noticed Stu in the background until we got the internet. And even looking at it now, I still don't know if it's Stu or not. I don't know. I mean, I've never, Ronnie, do you and I even hug like that? We're brothers. I mean, that arm is really low on that back.
We hug all the time. I don't think they're hugging his brothers as much as they're hugging his future lovers. So that's the reason we don't hug like that. I'm getting a big time Zach Jerry vibe from Randy right here. The whole look.
Well, you think Zach Cherry? I mean, we all know Zach Cherry loves Scream. He's obsessed with Scream. Did he steal Randy's gimmick?
I think he stole Randy's Scream 2 look. I think that's his gimmick.
Okay, well,
I wish I had a side by side right now. So Debbie Salt, we should have known it when we were watching it originally, Blake. Everybody leaves the party and they run over to where Buffy the Vampire Slayer just got killed. Debbie Salt is always the first one on the scene. We should have known something was up, but at the time I'm like, Jackie from Roseanne is in this movie. Why are they spending so much time on Jackie from Roseanne? We don't get a shot of the white cameraman in there, but who is this really old lady on college campus, Ron? Which one? That would be probably the. I didn't know Betty White was in this picture. She's the house mother, like Booger told the chick in Revenge of the Nerds, "Move out of the way, mama." So Sydney stays at the sorority house while Derek gets her stuff, and the phone rings, and she picks it up, and it's Ghostface, and he's like, "Do you remember me?" And a lot of people says this is Mrs. Loomis calling him, but it couldn't be. It couldn't be because she's over there talking to Courtney Cox at this exact moment. Okay. And Nick Push brings up a great point. Wasn't Billy's mom playing with fire that Sid might see her? Absolutely. Because Gail Weathers is such a horrible reporter that she doesn't know what Billy's mom looks like. Okay, because apparently Billy's mom looked like White Goodman before he transformed himself. But Sydney knows exactly what she looks like. So while she's walking around that campus, at any point she can run into Sydney and this whole thing get blown up. The cops are located across the street. I guess you could say that Mrs. Loomis looked like Roseanne. Exactly. Here's a scene right here that should have let you know that Derek is not the killer because he almost gets stabbed in the head style. You know, you have to stab a knife through a door? No, I don't. Pretty good gore right here, though, Blake, with this slice on this arm right here. Yeah, that shit hurt, Ronnie. Look how deep that is. Yeah, I mean, I gave myself a paper cut the other day, and I took off work, so I can't imagine how this felt. Yeah, Derek run back in to try to be a hero, and he found out quick. There's only one hero around here, and his name's Bud, a.k.a. Michael Thomas. So here we go. Hey, everybody, wear blue in this scene. Well, Sydney's got the Canadian tuxedo on. She's got denim on top and denim on the bottom. Mickey gives it away because she said, I can't believe this has happened. I never thought this would happen again or something like that. I'm sure Nick knows the quote. And Mickey goes, "You are not alone, Sid. I knew it was going to happen again. Derek just needs to know 90s is not time to play the hero." You know, looking back, now that you know he's the killer, they gave you all the clues that you needed in this movie. They really did. Yeah, and him disappearing for the last 30 minutes was a big one. So Gail Weathers is such a great reporter that she knows immediately there's a copycat because of Maureen Evans and Phil Stevens and Casey Cooper. But for some reason, Mrs. Loomis and Mickey dropped this gimmick right away. They were killing all the names of the people that died in the first one. Shane, if you want to know where Courtney Cox looked the best, go watch Masters of the Universe. Yeah, no, this is not the last time, Nick, that we see Mickey till the end. He's around for the singing scene, and that's, I think, it's what Shane just told you. Yeah. And they're having, okay, well, so here, real quick, let's go back to Twitch, Blake.
Nick Push donates $5 and says, "I wish the fat kid from Stand By Me would have kissed me like that."
I'm sure he does. So Sydney multiple times tries to get Derek to F off. She now has two guys in the background. She has bodyguards. Um,
And the bodyguards are suspects too.
you thought they were suspects?
Everybody's a suspect.
I never thought they were suspects. And
What sport do you think Derek plays at this college?
he doesn't play anything. He's a med student.
Oh, okay.
He's pre-med. These guys, she says the one on the left's gay and the one on the right beat his wife until she wanted to have a baby. So we get the backstory of those two. Here's the scene that Nick's talking about where there's singing going on. I want to focus on this table right here, Blake, because as Derek starts to sing the scene from Top Gun, these guys are checking it out. Now, if you notice the guy on the far right, hopefully he's majoring in dentistry because he can help himself fix those bad boys.
Yeah,
The
he can
other
eat an
two-
apple through a white picket fence.
The other two seem to be focused on this single mom that's going to college, apparently. They're both trying to get her. And this one guy's just turning around like, why has he got a paper cup in the cafeteria? They give real cups there. So that means he brought that water in. He doesn't have a tray. There's a good chance he's asking his friend there to pour his soda over into that paper cup because he's so cheap.
I mean,
But at
not
the
only
same
that,
time-
Ronnie, aren't you supposed to wear a watch on a left hand? The other two dweebs at that table have the watch on the left hand, and this guy turned around. I mean, he's got the watch on the right. It's just not a good look to be sitting at this table with the mutants at table 9.
Look at the neck on that guy back there to the left. I
Yeah.
know they let giraffes in here.
He looks like he wore one of them necklaces in Africa, or Egypt. You know what I'm talking about? It stretches the neck out.
Yeah. The National Geographic Go Gadget neck. So we got the big scene right here that if you're like me, you love it, but most people hate it. He's dancing around. It's fun, Blake. These are kids. And he just wants Sydney to love him, and he don't want her to push him away. And he lets her know, hey, I'm going to give you my Greek letters. They're going to protect you because at the end of it, you're going to hit Mickey in the eye with it, and he's going to be distracted. And I'm going to get my chest blowed out like the dude, like Blaine and Predator, and it's going to be great. You should have loved me, but you didn't trust me, and now you're going to be alone forever in those woods in part 3.
Not a very big cafeteria for college.
All right, Nick coming in with a good comment. Ace Ventura, she's pretty good too, Blake.
Yeah, she does look really good. They're looking for Snowflake in that one.
Chris Fantazi says, watch the Dancing in the Dark video.
I'll always remember when she hosted SNL and her and Adam Sandler recreated that.
Mm-hmm. Derek definitely plays volleyball in his free time.
Volleyball,
So
not a
Shane-
very big sport down here, Shane.
No, we don't know what's going on. All right. So in the first movie, if you guys remember, we've got to get this stream over with, Blake.
If you
The
guys
first
remember.
movie-
Hey, y'all remember the first one?
I remember. I think it's Dewey says, I see you as a young Meg Ryan. And she goes, they'll probably cast Tori Spelling. Well, Tori Spelling's in on the joke because she got cast as Sydney. That's not Owen Wilson because his nose is not destroyed. That's Luke Wilson in this movie playing Billy.
Yeah.
And Randy and Dewey. Here is your video store scene, Blake, for Scream 2. This is the only thing to remember Randy for in this movie until he dies here in about 2 minutes. But he
What
lets
an
them know,
ugly puke green jacket.
he lets them know that matches his shoes from part 1. I wonder if they did that on purpose.
Jesus.
Why did he hair for this movie? You think he's ashamed to be a redhead?
Well, he got a little paycheck. So, yeah, it's time to upgrade the look. Nobody wants to be redheaded, Ronnie.
That is a good point.
I can't believe Violet Bickerstaff from Saved by the Bell's in this movie.
Oh, I can't believe the professor from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Secret of the Ooze is in this movie. He pops up for 6 seconds and goes, look, I know everybody watching this movie, it's not going to make sense because Sydney's almost been they tried to kill Sydney twice already, but we still need her to practice for her play. So I'm going to give her a big speech right here. I'm going to tell her about the mutagen. I'm going to tell her we don't have any backups. You got to get in there because Toka and Razor, we got to make all this. You got to get in there, Adamine 9, because you're cursed, just like the star of this play. These people are always going to come for you because your mother was loose in the sheet. She had side pieces, and he's back wanting to be on Current Edition. You've got to go up there. You got to be in this play. It's all about Greek. It's great. I was in Turtles 2.
See, Ronnie, I can actually sympathize with Sydney in this scene because my son is in a performance deal in high school, and he has to deal with a guy like this. It doesn't matter if people are killing your friends and your family. You got to perform tonight. I want you to be there.
So the next scene is her in a play. She's accepted that she's cursed. Her mother has cursed her because her mother wasn't satisfied with her father. And now Cotton Weary is one of many men out there just wanting to kill her. And because the mom had an itch that nobody could scratch. So here you go. And Blake, was this real or was this fake? Was she imagining seeing Ghostface while she's practicing, or was Mickey really in there? Because if Mickey's really in there, then this is dumber than the grocery store scene in part 1.
I think that's what they're trying to do. Just Ghostface is everywhere. I don't think she's imagining it. This is just like the grocery store scene. This is just like Ghostface being in the bathroom in the high school. I mean, Ghostface is everywhere, Ronnie. You can't hide from it.
I told you guys last week that I thought that was the scene of the movie. I think this is the still frame of the movie right here. It's really the first time you get Gale, Dewey, and Randy sitting together having any kind of conversation in this franchise. And they're trying to figure out, and Gale's getting phone call after phone call. I can't remember what the cameraman's name is, but he freaks out and says he's going to go away. They start talking about something a little bit more Saved by the Bellish. He disappears. Randy picks up the phone to scream at him, and it's Ghostface.
I
Now,
noticed
Blake,
that Randy did have the killer shoes on right then, Ronnie. I did notice that. Where is Dewey staying? He get a hotel or something?
He's staying in the car. So he drove out. He's probably just sleeping on this bench right here. That's probably where they woke him up. Hey, Dewey, get up. Let's talk about catching Ghostface. Because you got to figure he flew out, right?
I don't know. I want to say I remember him getting out of a cab, but I could be wrong.
No, he didn't get out of the cab. The first time I showed him, he was talking to that tree.
That's right.
So Blake, was Ghostface, was Debbie Salt trying to call Gale right here to kill Gale, and Randy just picked up the phone and it was just wrong place, wrong time?
I think so. I don't think they wanted to kill Randy.
So Randy's on the phone, and immediately they do the stupid thing. They split up. So now Randy's by himself. He can't fight his way out of a wet paper sack, guys. So Randy's there, and he gets the Showgirls line from the trailer in.
All you got to do is just stay out in the open. Like, just stay out in the open. You can see anybody coming from a mile away. That's all. All y'all had to do was stay by that tree and just look around. But no, we got to get up and walk around. How dumb.
Here's one thing I want to bring up.
Good on you for pointing out that the cameraman ditched too.
Yeah. Not only did Randy, I think Randy's popularity in this franchise is a fluke, because I don't think in part 1 they thought that character that told us the rules was going to blow up as big as he did. But the way they kill him off in this movie is so bad. I like this movie. It's so bad. He gets beat up by what we're supposed to believe is Mrs. Loomis. It's not Mrs. Loomis. Mickey kills him. Mrs. Loomis just gives him the okay. I think Mickey kills everybody in this movie. Okay, I know I'm no expert, but I'm just trying to put a little common sense to it. The way they kill him, Blake, this is a main character. He's a survivor from part 1. It should be a big deal when he gets yanked into that van and killed. But he gets killed like a character that doesn't mean anything. He gets yanked into a van, and this freaking circus right here comes dancing up to an ICP song. This dude's in the middle of doing a twerk, and they're dancing the whole time. It's supposed to be a dramatic scene with Randy getting killed. It's overshadowed by this crap right here. If you got a copy of Scream 2 in your house, go watch the Randy death scene. It never recovers from this stupid scene right here. Ronnie, they wanted to have loud music playing so people couldn't hear what was going on. It don't matter. Nobody was around anyway when he got yanked in there. This is ridiculous.
Flags at half mast.
So Gale Weathers with the best scream of this movie right here.
Best scream of the franchise, probably.
Yeah. And there you go. Randy's just foobar deluxe right here. Cut up. I never noticed his neck was slit.
I never noticed that either. That's a really good pick.
I mean, he took a pounding. His ass took a pounding. Let's check the chat, Blake, real quick. That'll be fun backing up. Let's see. Imagine Bud Wilson's hair here. No, I don't want to imagine that. Bud is perfect with that hair I saw before. Went back to high school style. Don't know what he's talking about. Blake, help me out. Dude from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. Nick knows it. Nick knows. It's called Heroes, Ronnie. Don't know what that is. My bad. Herpes, Ronnie. Don't know what that is. Can't grow the beard back. Why, Bud? We're back on track. We don't need you in here talking about being gorgeous again. Love Randy's whatever that shirt. I guess that's what he's trying to say. Is that a tiny phone? No, it's a tiny phone. It's a tiny phone, Nick. I was fascinated. I'm going to back it up. I was fascinated at the way he was holding this phone. Look at his pinky. Look at that weird pinky right there. Does he have any nerve damage like Dewey? What's going on right there?
I don't know.
I don't either. So that's the chat, Blake.
Okay.
Back to Cotton Weary. Let me get off here just a second. Back to Cotton Weary, who decides he's going to show up at the wrong time. He's got the worst timing of anybody around. Sydney gets a private message in this library that says you're going to die tonight. The cops clear the area, and somehow Cotton Weary's wearing, clothes from the college and dives over. Hey, Sid, you okay? I mean, why do you care? No, she's not okay, dude. They're trying to kill her left and right. Why are you asking stupid questions? And Shane brings up a really good point right here. Maybe instead of tackling everyone who's on the phone, they should have just listened to what they were saying. Good point, because Dewey and Gale run to try to find Ghostface who's on the phone. Ghostface in every movie has been way smarter than the main characters. So them running back, the rule of scary movies is you stay together. If all three of them stay together, all three of them still alive. It was really stupid. The cops arrested Cotton Weary. This is what we get out. We should have seen a huge dramatic scene out of Sydney finding out her friend Randy, the last of her friends, is dead. Instead, we get her right here. And I know that's the theme of the movie. She's tough. She's not going to break. And this is what we get right here when she finds out Randy, the guy who worshipped her, is dead. All she says is it's my fault.
I think Randy should have died in this movie. He definitely should have died, but I think it should have been the cameraman right then that got grabbed.
I agree 100%. I agree 100% because he comes back at the end of it and it makes zero sense. Now, a couple of things with this right here, Blake. Gale is starting to have doubts about Cotton Weary. They arrest Cotton Weary, and he lets them know quick, I'm an innocent guy. You don't have anything on me except me raising my voice in the library. So he's walking out and he's signing things up. Before we talk about that, what's the deal with these pictures right here, Blake?
I think it goes back to what Shane talked about on a few episodes ago. These guys are being congratulated for most kills of the month, maybe? Ronnie?
I think, yeah, of course, the top left right there, it's got to be employee of the month. The one bottom left right there, that's probably the most females pepper sprayed. Top right is probably most date rapes interrupted. And the bottom right over there is probably the most fights broken up.
Yeah.
In this month. Just this month. Bud says that Cotton Weary should still be alive today. So, hey, not that I disagree, but I do. Shane agrees with that. Hit us up in the chat and tell us why you think Cotton should still be alive.
And what was his role be in Scream 4 or 5 and this new one? What would his role be?
Yeah, I'd like to know that. But anyway, this is a great point. I think Cotton Weary has the best character development in this movie because look at him right now. He looks like a psycho.
The black shirt helps too.
Yeah, he's like, come on, Gale, you were instrumental in getting me my freedom. You're not having character doubts now, are you? And he's like trying to get Sydney to do a Diane Sawyer interview. Said Diane Sawyer would give him the whole hour. He hands her a card on the way out. So Dewey and Gale, they go to try to find the footage. They use the footage and they want to try to find if the killer's around. So, of course, other footage starts playing and Ghostface is there. Dewey falls down the steps. We get a great chase scene with Ghostface chasing Courtney Cox. And a lot of people suggest that this is Debbie Salt doing the stalking of Gale Weathers right here. I really don't know. I'm giving Mickey the credit for everything in this movie, especially the kill of Dewey here in a minute. Dewey steps in some pizza while he's trying to get Gail's attention, and he gets stabbed in the back. And if you notice later in the movie, guys, when they're wheeling him out, one of his boots fell out. So he's wearing a boot, and the other boot barefooted. So
this should have been the best kill of the movie. Like I said, this whole chase scene is fantastic. It's intense. Dewey should have died right here. This should have been the end of the Dewey character. It would have been a great way to send him out. And I'm very disappointed that they showed him alive at the end.
I'm one that never wanted, I don't want to see Dewey die. And I was sad in this movie, but I agree with you 100%. If Dewey was going to die, this is where he should have died. And a lot of people, I think Nick Push is like one of the main people that says you got to take risk in movies like this. You got to show the audience you're not scared to kill anybody off. They already did that with Randy. So they go ahead and kill off Dewey too. Originally, he was dead, guys. He was dead. They were going to have this to be a bloodbath where there's nothing but Sidney left at the end of this. Ghostface, Mickey takes out both of these cops relatively easy. One of the cops stays on the hood and for some reason doesn't shoot through the windshield at the Ghostface. And this is probably the most brutal murder of the movie because Mickey, like an idiot, drives right into a bunch of construction equipment, and this pipe goes right through this guy's head. And he's just sitting there shaking. I would have loved to have seen some brain on the other end of that pipe, but they didn't do that.
Well, that's because he don't have any brains. Ronnie, is it confirmed he's dead?
Well, it's true. It could be a Phineas Gage type thing where it just cut off his frontal and his side cortex, and he's okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if, along with Stu, this guy came back for Scream 6.
Him and Stu are back. This is probably the most tense scene of the movie because Mickey's knocked out. They can't get out of the side door. They have to crawl over him.
Okay, so let me propose this question to you and the chat, Ronnie. Is this the most intense scene of the Scream franchise, having to crawl over a knocked out Ghostface? Let me ask you this. Is there a more intense scene in Friday the 13th or Halloween? Let's hear it.
Dude, that's like a ton of questions right there. I'm just going to answer the Scream one. I think this is the most tense scene in the Scream franchise. Yes, because you just keep waiting for Ghostface to pop up and get her, but he's really knocked out. I mean, he's really knocked out here, or at least you assume he is. She goes to pull the mask off because she's smart, and her elbow hits the horn, and it just freaks her out, and she gets out of there. When she goes back to get the mask after because both of them get out. You keep waiting for Allie to die when she's going over. They both get out, and she wants to run back and says, it's over if I take the mask off, which she's absolutely right, which I would have just yanked the mask off right here. I know who you are. Boom, it's Mickey. And when she goes back, Ghostface pops out the side. You can see Mickey's face right there. I know it's not really Mickey, but you can see the eyebrows.
Oh, wow. I've never noticed that. Look at that. You can clearly see.
Yeah, he kills Allie deader than hell, which Allie's got it coming to her. For some reason, the cops let her go with Sidney. When you got to think of it like this, when you know that the killer could be anybody that she's got a relationship with, why would you let anybody go to a safe house with Sidney? It makes zero sense. So Dewey's dead. Gail finally escapes that room, and she runs into Cotton, who's covered in blood. And I'm pumped in the movie theater right now because I'm like, hey, Cotton Weary's back, 100% Cotton, and he's laying people out left and right for sending him to jail. But that's not necessarily true.
Didn't Cotton say he just found Dewey? Like, what are you doing in that department, Cotton? Like, what? You don't even go to this school. Who are you looking for? And why are you so far down in the radio station, man? Come on.
Great point, Blake. That is a great point. Mickey reveals himself to be the killer after he hits Sid with surprise Sidney, just like Stu did in part 1.
Well, he also hit him, like, he faked it. He's like, Derek, I've been waiting on you all night. And I mean, he did that. It's just so fun.
My partner here left me out on my own all night. Sidney was untying Derek at the time. Derek screaming at Mickey, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. So Mickey pulls out the gun, shoots him in the chest. Pretty good gore right here. Blows a hole in his chest. And I think that's what that Twitch comment was talking about earlier. She cups her hand over it after it starts bleeding. So I don't know if she thought that was going to save him or whatever, but he tells her, I always loved you, Sid. And he's dead. Debbie Salt shows up after using the Grutters to take Mickey out of the equation. And we find out that she is the killer, Blake. She's the second person in command. And Sydney, like you said earlier, immediately knows who this girl is. It's Jackie from Roseanne. And favorite scene of the movie, Blake. Go ahead and hit it.
Billy's mother.
It's Billy's mother. And of course, in typical Scream fashion, Mickey gives his reason for why he's doing this. He's going to blame the movies. The movies are too violent. They made him do this. Bob Dole's going to be on the witness stand trying to defend him. He's going to get off on account that movies made him do it. But Mrs. Loomis doesn't play that. She kills him immediately. And she tells Sydney that she never bought that whole blame the movies thing. Hers is just good old-fashioned revenge because you killed my son. What was great about that shooting Mickey, Blake, is Mickey's gun went off and he shoots Courtney Cox in the ribs and she falls over into the fog that's there. Cotton shows up with a gun. He shoots Mrs. Loomis in the neck. She's dead. And Courtney Cox.
He just is that what happens? I thought there was a lot more that happened in between that run. He just shows up and says, "Here you go, Mrs. Voorhees. I'm going to shoot you in the neck."
We got to go. So here you go. You got your two heroines. You got your poster moment right here, and it looks like Cotton's trying to get on some of that stuff that David Arquette's on. Mickey gives him one last scare. He gets peppered with the guns, flies off like an idiot. And Sydney puts another one in the head of Mrs. Loomis just in case she thinks about coming back for another one. Look at the hairline on Mrs. Loomis. That's worse than Allie's hairline. So Dewey's still alive here at the end. The cameraman shows back up and says, "You're Gail Weathers at Windsor College." And then Dewey comes out looking like this. So she decides, earlier in the movie, I said she was the worst, Blake. She actually decides to go with Dewey rather than to get her story. So maybe right here for a moment, the Grinch's heart grew 5 sizes.
Well, you find out she immediately regretted it in part 3, though. I mean, she's miserable. She hates him.
And that's going to, the other slides I have.
Just mow through it.
Yeah. What I'm saying, the other slides I have are non-existent right now because it'll take me a while to load them up. This thing only goes to 100 slides. So I'll post them up later. Hold on. Maybe I can get it real quick. Give me just a second, Blake.
I got all the time in the world, Ron.
I'll go check the chat, Blake, while I'm doing this.
I don't know how to check the chat. Like, I can't pull the chat up and read it like you can.
Check the chat.
Maverick Media is here. He says, "What's up, everyone?" What's up, Mav? You missed a great. We found out that Bud from the Shape of Horror podcast is a 10 out of 10 on looks. He logged in under the wrong account, and the new account had his face, and he is as sexy as it gets. So, Mav, definitely go check out Michael Thomas, Shape of Horror podcast.
I don't want his name out there anymore.
Well, he shouldn't have logged in. Josh the Horror Guy. Fun fact: stuntman playing Ghostface is Chris Duran. Don't know who that is. Ronnie, do you know who Chris Duran is?
Yeah, he's got probably something to do with Halloween.
Shane Emerson says, if Cotton ever became an unhinged Ghostface, he'd be 10 times more dangerous than any of the others, in my opinion. Well, that's your opinion. No. Nick Push's Horror Channel says, look at that gunshot wound on Derek. You're right. It was awesome. Shape of Horror podcast says, yeah, he had been perfect killer down the line, talking about Cotton. Maybe it's time and the spotlight ends and he needs to change that. I love Mickey's motive, but he should have had another accomplice, says Shane. We absolutely agree. Nick Push says Cotton hesitates shooting Mrs. Loomis. She actually talks him into maybe.
Shut up. Here we go. So at the end of it, the swarm of media comes around Sydney right here.
I'm so glad that she was able to get a Band-Aid for that on her forehead.
Yeah. And she goes, hey, you guys should really talk to Cotton. And Cotton's standing over like Jim Varney at the end of Ernest Saves Christmas when Santa don't want him to go with him. He's doing the sad face, the sad look back. If you guys have seen Ernest Saves Christmas, you know the reference. And she's like, won't you guys ask Cotton? He's the hero. So for a moment, Cotton is being selfless. He's walking off. He's leaving Sydney for the spotlight. And just like that, we undo it because they all come running over and ask Cotton, what's it like to be a hero? And he goes, well, people, there's a place and a time and a price. It'll be one hell of a movie. And the movie ends with a horrible helicopter shot as Sydney walks off with some stupid music playing that makes zero sense in the whole scheme of things.
Yeah, and she gets to walk away. Cops aren't questioning her. They're not saying you're going to come back to the station. We're going to ask you a bunch of questions. No, you're just going to walk back to your empty dorm room and look for another roommate.
Everybody you were friends with, they're dead. Your college friends are dead. Your last high school friends are dead. For all she knows, Dewey's dead. So, because she didn't see Dewey coming out of there. So, I mean,
she also didn't see Dewey die, though, right?
That's true. That's true. So she don't know that he's dead. But it's just, it ends on such a sad note for her because like the professor from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Part 2, Secret of the Ooze said, her life is cursed. The only way that curse is going to be broken, now he never actually says this, is for her to die because people are always going to be coming around because her mother cursed their family, by being a hoeback. So, I mean, it's just a really, it's really sad in a way. It's really sad here we are 25 years later and she's still got people in white masks chasing her around. Now I'll take it over, Blake.
Thank you.
Bud's back. Liev Schreiber, best actor in the franchise, maybe Scream 4 or 5, but he'd be put right back in. He's still doing a talk show. One of the best tension sequences in the franchise. Was Dewey worth keeping around until Scream 5? I don't think so. I think the more movies he survived, Josh, it
wore off.
Yeah.
He was perfect in part 1, and in part 2, that was a perfect ending for that character. And I'm really sad that they showed him alive.
I do stand by, guys, what I said, that killing off Dewey was the biggest mistake. Because if you're going to kill off one of those legacy characters, you kill off Gail Weathers first. You really do, because she's horrible. Dewey was the heart of the franchise because he's the only one that wasn't a piece of crap all the way throughout it. That's why Scream 6 is so important. They need to do something different with the formula and take some risk if they want the franchise to continue strong.
Good point.
The third act chase is Halloween.
That's a good point, Shane. When Michael's crossing the street and Laurie can't get Tommy's little idiot self to open the door, that is definitely more tense than Sydney crawling over Ghostface in the car.
Fun fact: the stuntman is Chris Duran.
That's Michael Myers in H2O.
Oh, there you go. If Cotton ever become an unhinged Ghostface, he'd be 10 times more dangerous than any of the other ones. He should have been the unhinged Ghostface in part 2. Look at that gunshot wound. You've done read some of these, haven't you, Blake? Billy's mother, boom. There you go. I love Mickey's motive, but he should have been another accomplice. He should have had another accomplice. Cotton hesitates here.
That's what I say. Mrs. Loomis says, I can get you your interview, Cotton. And that's when Cotton's like, Sydney, what do you say? That Diane Sawyer thing's looking pretty good now, huh?
And that stems from the original script where Cotton realizes that and he's got to kill Sydney or he's never going to be the main story. And then she kills him. So let's see. Gail's pain tolerance, 1 billion. No. The other one is my legit account. That dude's so good looking. Let's see. Apparently a third Ghostface was supposed to appear at the end looking at Sid from the clock tower.
Okay, so Shane, I've heard that, Ronnie. Let's go ahead and ask that question. Why is Ghostface in a clock tower? Why is he in costume up there? Because I read the thing too. It was going to show a Ghostface in a clock tower watching Sydney leave. And that was going to be the cliffhanger ending. And why is he dressed way up there?
I think that Nick's trying to imply that Sydney's father molested her because he says, why wouldn't she call her father to see if he's okay? I think you're right, Nick.
How are you getting that?
Well, I mean, he's saying it right here.
No, you said that everybody important to Sydney was dead. So he's saying, wouldn't she call her father, see if he was okay?
Yeah, he's implying about molesting.
Okay. Bob says, I can't believe Jackie from Roseanne was the killer. Kept looking for Big Dan and Roseanne to come through that door as well. Loggerhead donates $1 and says Blake and Ronnie are like shrimp. They shall rise, he said.
He's the Twitch is they're referencing that stupid song at the end, Blake. Shrimp shall rise, he said.
Jesus Christ.
Look, I love the Scream franchise. I really do. I like these movies. but I'm also going to point out when something sort of don't make sense. Blake, that's just me.
Okay.
I can watch Scream 2 24 hours a day and never get tired of it. But I do like the original script better. I think that it should have just been a bloodbath. Should have been a bloodbath because I mean, just go ahead and wipe those guys out in part 2. Start building in part 3 for newer characters, new people that we can fall in love with. All right. So Blake, Scream 2, what are you rating it?
Scream 2 is a 7.5 out of 10. I am sour on female killers. I thought it was really good. I enjoyed it. I think everybody here enjoys it. I think it's one of the better movies in the franchise, Ron.
Scream 2, 7.2, Blake. I was having a conversation earlier today with somebody that said they didn't like this movie. And I said, I like this movie because of nostalgia. This is when I was really getting into horror and I was really pumped about this movie. And I made every excuse why this movie's great. Looking back now, 100 years later, you can tell it was rushed. I wish they'd have took a little bit more time with it. I wish the original script hadn't got leaked. There's a lot of things, but these characters, dude, these characters held this movie together. Cotton Weary, best character of the movie is Cotton Weary. I mean, because he goes from dork to possible killer to hero at the end, if you consider that a hero. I like it. I like it. I mean, I like it. I think
I'm going to go with Pacey as my favorite character in this movie.
Pacey with the hair brushed straight down. Let's go to the chat one last time, Blake. If you guys have any questions about anything while you're here, go ahead and type them. We'll answer real quick. Fun show. If Biden hadn't taken everyone's money, y'all should use that Venmo and donate to these guys. The Venmo. Thank you, Nick. Scream is by far my wife's favorite franchise, and she's done her best to avoid Scream 6 fault. Josh, I have avoided the Scream 6 spoilers, so I am super pumped, but I don't have enough money to go to the theater. Scream 6 can be that bloodbath we crave. Now, Shane, what are you looking for in a Scream 6? Okay, this is a good question before everybody leaves. What do you guys, and don't spoil it if you the spoiler, just don't ask. What is going to make you say, holy crap, that was great at the end of Scream 6? What were you going to say, Blake?
I was going to say Shane is being really positive about Scream 6. I mean, it's kind of rubbing me. It's kind of rubbing off on me, Ronnie. Like I'm usually negative when a new movie comes out. Like, oh, it's gonna be shit. It's gonna suck. But Shane is coming through with all kind of positivity. He's like, they're gonna change the formula. They're gonna do something great. It's gonna be a bloodbath. It's gonna be a bloodbath we crave. So Shane's kind of be getting pumped up. Are you guys seeing Scream 6 next weekend? I won't see it next weekend, bud. But I just don't have time. But we are going on vacation. I am going on vacation in Missouri in 2 weeks. And, there's nothing to do at night in Branson, Missouri. I think I'm going to sneak off to the movies and see Scream 6. Look at Mav coming through promoting us, man. Such a good guy. Got a good looking face, too. Not as good as Bud's, but...
I want Scream 6 to bring back classic Scream vibes with chase scenes, more blood, and not just follow the two basic formula killers and do something new and fresh. Are you talking about one killer, Shane, or 3 killers, or 100 killers?
I think we should go multiple killers, like 8 to 10, and we gotta have an African American killer. I mean, it's time to break it, Ronnie.
I want tension and to be surprised. No moral messages that tell us what to think. Nick, if no movie is going to tell us what to think, Nick, keep it out of here. We love
Ronnie. I want what I'm looking for in Scream 6. What if the killer is he only speaks Mandarin and he has to call Sydney, or no, he has to call Samantha and Jenny Ortega, but he doesn't speak English?
I don't know. I guess they'd be able to.
Hola, Samantha.
What if he just called him and told him his name? Hey, I'm what's the young guy's name? Charlie Daniels.
Hey, this is Jack Champion. I mean, this is Ghostface. Hello. This is the guy from Young Guns 2. Or no, Young Guns 1.
Okay, so Dirty Steve. This is me, Dirty Steve.
Hey, this is Dirty Steve. I mean, this is Ghostface. What are y'all doing?
All right, I'm seeing it at 5 p.m. on Thursday. Me and Nick Push will be live Thursday night with our reaction. So,
wow, I can't wait.
here we go. So Thursday night, guys, this week, Thursday night, Bud, which channel is it going to be on, yours or Nick's? Check out either the Shape of Horror podcast or the Nick Push Horror Movie channel, whatever it's called. These guys are really good when it comes to talking Scream. They've had really good theories during Scream season, and I wouldn't even bring it up if I didn't like it. They had some really great videos that were very, very good throughout this whole process.
I kind of hope it's on Michael Thomas's page, Ronnie.
I want more than two. Okay, Shane. He wants more than two killers. He wants Ghostface versus Ghostface. So Shane's in the camp of thinking there'll be two killers that aren't related. They're not connected. They're
not working together. Yeah, they're not working together.
Jenna can do anything. I'm sure she speaks, man. A lot of these guys are like hard up for this Jenna chick, this surfboard.
Well,
Please
Ronnie,
tell me what's the deal is.
Well, Ronnie, this is not your generation anymore. I mean, you're 20-something years older than this chick. You don't get it. You don't get the appeal. Now, the younger generation, which include me, we're all about Jenny Ortega.
What's good about her? It's like a wig on a mop handle. It'll be on the crappy channel. So I guess there you go. Blake, biggest takeaways, Blake, from this stream. You go first, and I'm going to go.
The biggest takeaway is finding out how sexy Bud is, Ronnie.
I would 100%. Okay, let's rate Bud on a scale of 1 to 10 from that picture.
Well, I mean, no, he's changed the scale. It's every time we rate something, anytime we rate movies or anything, we rank it 1 to Bud now. And Bud is a Bud out of Bud for sure. Jesus Christ. Can you pull that picture back up, Ronnie? Can you go back and find that chat and click that again so I can see? I mean, Jesus
I can
Christ.
do anything. Let me scroll. Where's my mouse?
What a good looking guy. Like, and Nick Push and Jake Blaster have the nerve to go on the same camera as him. I can't go back on Bud's channel. I can't. I won't.
Where's he at? There you are, you bastard.
Look at that, guys. Everybody, if you're still in the chat, look at that. Jesus.
I love it.
Good Lord. Wait a minute. Maverick coming in with what he wants, Ronnie. Scroll all the way back down.
Okay, so real quick before we hit up Maverick, you said that this is his album moment. He's picturing himself as a country artist right here. This is his album moment. What's the name of his album? Mustache Ride?
Simply Bud.
Dirty My Beard?
Simply Bud.
But more than 3 Ghostface killers, a chase scene in a haunted house since it's happening during Halloween, and someone killed during a parade on the Jumbotron in Times Square. Maverick, that would all be crazy. I would actually like that. Maverick Media, make sure you check out his channel. If anybody's in the chat that hasn't subscribed to Maverick, he has a really great channel. He's got a voice for YouTube. He's got the best voice.
He really does. Maverick, I want to see Ghostface throw someone off the Statue of Liberty.
Shane, you're gorgeous. Don't let the new Bud showing up. You know, you're still up there too.
Shane is up there. Shane's hitting bombs. I got to look up Shane's stats this year, see how he's doing.
Look at this. My hair is a mess.
Only good-looking people say my hair's a mess. Yeah, my hair's a mess too, there, Bud.
Oh, my goodness. All right, Blake, anything else before we get out of here? Guys, really quickly, thank you for showing up for this. We've had huge chats, and I know, Blake, it's because of the horror movies, but this will be the last horror movie we talk about for a while. We do have something special planned here pretty soon that will be horror-related that everybody's invited back to. But to watch us again, we'll be back Wednesday, Blake, talking just one of the guys. Don't worry. He's got breasts. It's going to be a good movie that I haven't seen in forever. So it's going to be interesting whether or not I still like it.
Josh the Horror Guy says, great show tonight, guys. Thank you for everything you both do. I don't do anything. Ronnie does all the legwork. He pulls all the pictures. He decides everything. I'm just here. Thank y'all for showing up and putting up with the ridiculousness. And I can't wait to review just one of the guys. If you guys haven't seen it, please go check it out. But be here Wednesday to talk about that, because my favorite line of probably any movie is, it's okay, everybody. She has tits.
Edit. We can't say that.
You've been cussing this whole stream, and you're going to tell me I can't say titties?
Bet.